Howdy, y'all. Asha Hawksworth here for another episode of Redneck Lesbian. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it? Um, I guess it's taken me a while to figure out what to say. Here we are. I often feel like Cassandra, destined to tell the truth and never be believed. Anyway, here we are in uh, the on the road to Gilead. For reals, for reals. Yeah, these people, they don't see women as human, that's part of the problem. So if they don't see women as human, they certainly don't see other groups as human either. You know, only the white man is a human being in their eyes. Um, if you want to understand the evangelical mind a little bit, I highly recommend uh, Tia Leving's biography, a memoir about her life as a evangelical wife. It's called A Well-Trained Wife. She is on podcasts around the internet. She will certainly enlighten you as to how they really think. These are the people who are running things. That's been, in the works for a long time, but here you have it. Roe versus Wade is just the first domino in that chain to fall. They will come after your contraception. They will come after other things. They'll come after your job. That scene in Handmaid's Tale where June goes to work and finds she no longer has a job or even a credit card or a bank account. That's what they'd like. But we're not there yet. So we have time. If you appreciated the ferocity of the fighting in that series, let's try to do the fierce fighting, not necessarily violent fighting, I understand, but in advance so that we don't have to wait till it gets that far. So here we are. Now, we're going to have to rely on the Democrats for a while, but don't expect them to save us. Okay? The reason we're here is due to certainly Republican failures, but also Democrat failures. I've said this before, Democrats are now Reagan Republicans. They don't actually work for the benefit of anyone but the corporate people. That's obvious. When was the last time they raised the federal minimum wage? Public health care option. They have declined to give us that, even though Joe said he would, right? Let's not forget why we're here. This is the party that sabotaged Bernie Sanders twice, attempted to sabotage Mamdani in New York City, and whom the current frontrunner for President Gavin Newsom said that we were a big tent and so we didn't need to tax billionaires. That is wrong. We need to tax billionaires down to millionaires, and they will still be fine. Why do we need to do that? Well, aside from the fact that they're hoarding money, billionaires have given up on democracy. The tech bros, the Musks of the world, Zuckerbergs, Peter Thiel, these people have latched on to the ravings of a pseudo-intellectual who says that we don't need democracy anymore. He's pro-fascist. He thinks we should have a CEO king. And of course, these guys think that's a great idea. Which tells you how little democracy we have in companies, right? The company structure, there's nothing democratic about that. Now, billionaires have given up on democracy. They now have enough money to buy the government and basically do whatever the fuck they want. mess up your environment, use all your clean water for AI, cram AI down your throats, uh, because AI workers are free. You cost money. Don't believe them when they say that, oh, it's only the horrible jobs that will go away. Um, no, it's all bullshit. They know what they're doing. They want to get rid of humans in the loop because you're expensive. And don't expect them to pay you some kind of universal basic income to survive. You're on your own. So no, we have to tax billionaires. We have to take that money, that power away from them. They have too much. They have more than governments. Think about that. Billionaires have more power than governments. All right, problem one. Now, Trump is an obvious problem, and certainly waiting for him to die is a strategy, but and I do have the champagne ready to go, but that's not going to solve the problem, right? Even if he dies. J.D. Vance is actually an acolyte of Peter Thiel, and he will do whatever Peter Thiel says, and Peter Thiel doesn't believe in democracy, and basically we'll still have Stephen Miller, mini Hitler there. Russell Vought has been running the Office of Management and Budget. And if you haven't heard of him, that's too bad, because he is a nasty motherfucker. He is an evangelical, and he is implementing Project 2025. It's happening. It's not being reported on. It's happening. So we're going to have a problem with or without Trump. So what to do? Well, let me give you a few ways. Resistance doesn't mean posting on Facebook. That feels good in the moment, and I've done it myself, but it doesn't solve anything, right? It just causes arguments between you and your crazy uncle. All right. So the first thing to handle is technology. So the big US tech companies are part of the problem. They are surveilling you for the government, on the government's behalf. They make a lot of money doing this. So get out of their loops. I'm talking about your email address, I'm talking about your web browser, and your search engine. You can try going with some like European alternatives. Europe is not, some of them are good. They have some really good alternatives there. Some people there who really believe in freedom more than American companies do. But, be aware that some European companies, of course, are in U.S. pockets. So just be careful with that. There's a lot of good, there's a Tor browser, Vivaldi. You can get an email account at Proton Mail. Lots of places that you can get good, secure email. And plenty of search engines out there that are not Google. Use them, honestly. You'll also avoid Google's AI that way. Get yourself a VPN on your phone and on your computers and your tablets. I like Nord and Proton for those. There are some websites that you'll have to, if you really want to connect to, you'll have to turn it off because it'll say, oh, we can't tell where you're coming from. Well, that is the point of a VPN. But if you have an account somewhere and you can't log into your own account, because you just, okay, so turn it off, log in, then turn it back on, when you're done. So do get a VPN, because, and preferably one that doesn't do any logging. You don't want to log reporting what you've been doing. Okay. Recognize that social media represents the arms of the government now. Okay. Facebook, Twitter, all of it. Doesn't mean you shouldn't post. I still have friends on Facebook that I care about. That's the only reason I haven't left. But just be aware. Make your profile private, not public, for sure. And if you go to a protest, leave your phone home. Well, okay, so you want to take your phone to film. Maybe turn off your Face ID. You don't want somebody to be able to grab your phone and log into your phone by scanning your face or doing whatever, and looking at your stuff, right? It's kind of a two-pronged thing. So yeah, I would leave my phone at home if I could, and bring some other means of filming. But you got to do what you got to do. Not everybody has options. Just mind the security on your phone. Don't make it easy to open and look at. Numerical code is better than face recognition or thumbprint or whatever at this point. Yeah. Now, in terms of resistance, a lot of people feel like, what can I do? I have no power. That's not true. It's true that most of us don't have power within the federal government. Like, we're not a representative, we're not a senator, and those people are just spineless baboons who have completely given up their job, right? But we do have power. So use it where you have it. What do I mean? School boards have power in their district, don't they? That's a means of power. Run for school board. You've got some jerks on there, kick them off. Parent-teacher organizations have a modicum of power as well. You can kind of see what the problems are. You can help, right? If you run a daycare, and you're dealing with the children and of course the parents of those children, you have some power. You might be able to help, right? Hospitals, if you work in a hospital, you have some power there. You're going to see all kinds of people, and there may be things that you can do, right? If you're in the travel or hospitality industry, I'm so happy to see that some places are refusing service to ICE agents. More of that, please. Restaurants, don't serve these assholes. Make them leave. Make them go somewhere else. Deprive them of things that they need, like food. Make them move on. You have power in your own neighborhood. You have the power to step outside of your own house with a camera and film. You have the power to invite your neighbors into your home to protect them, right? You have some power in your own neighborhood to do the right thing. So these are just examples. I want you to take a good hard look at where you work, where you live, what you're involved with, and find the power there that you can help. If you belong to a pride group or something like that, that's a network, isn't it? It's a network. If you need to start thinking about moving trans people to safety, a network is what you need, right? So there's a lot of things that we can do on an individual level. Please think about that. Please think about networking with people you trust, um, and and be careful. Um, I wouldn't put a lot of things in writing. If I was networking with people, I would do it like verbally in the room. I would choose my compatriots carefully, because government loves to infiltrate all kinds of groups, you know. So yeah, just take care. Um, the, this is a war. It might not be a hot war, but it's a war. That's what we're fighting here. Um, Genocide and concentration camps are a thing now. So, Alligator Alcatraz is a concentration camp. Nominally, they're deporting people, right, out of the country, but not really. That's not really what they're doing. What they're doing is rounding people up and putting them in these privately funded prisons, and just keeping them there and torturing them. They're doing that in Venezuela, or not Venezuela. Anyway, they're doing that in other countries, and they're doing that here. Um, and you should, if you have MAGA friends, wasn't the goal to get them out of the country? Why are they just holding them in prison? Well, they're holding them because, of course, their cronies accept government funds to keep these people there and to torture them. It's all about the money. They're making money holding these people. So that's why they're doing it. Just saying. You have to remember that in World War II, Hitler came to power around 1933, right? The camps didn't really get into full swing until the 40s, like 1941, something like that. It takes a while to build up that kind of infrastructure, and that kind of process, but that is certainly the road we're on right now, and we must bear witness with our cameras, with our bodies, with our eyes. We must spread this. We have an advantage that they didn't have during World War II, in that the opposition didn't have such ready access to cameras, right? For filming these things. Everybody's got one in their pocket now. That's quite an advantage, honestly. No one is going to be able to say when this is all over, oh, we didn't know. Oh yeah, you knew. Another thing we need to be prepared to do is hide people. Building those hidden rooms in houses might have to do it. For people of color, for LGBTQ community, particularly transgender people. It could get bad. So we need to be prepared to go to that length. We need to be prepared to have networks in place to go to that step where we can hide people if we need to. And I can argue that we need to today. Right? You've got some people hiding inside their homes now, too afraid to go outside of their house. They're going to get kidnapped by ICE on the street. It's pretty bad. So, also, if you find yourself in a position where, let's say you're working on a company that is part of the machinery, the apparatus of genocide, yes, you can obviously just refuse to do it. That's probably ideal. But there could be stuff done from the inside as well, to you know, make it not work so good. Just saying. On the state level, we should be encouraging our states, particularly our blue states, although don't worry, red states, they'll come for you too, um, to start withholding federal taxes from the feds. They're taking our tax money and they're giving it to ICE to terrorize us. This is crazy. Um, some of the blue states should start banding together and say, you know what, we're not going to send you our taxes anymore. We are going to instead spend it on our own communities and our own people. Um, that would be a very bold move. And I think it's one that they should seriously consider. They should definitely refuse to cooperate with ICE at the state level in any capacity. So police and state militias should actively oppose ICE, should be prepared to arrest ICE agents for unconstitutional behavior, you know, infringing on rights, hurting people. Hello, murder. Arrest that guy. Yeah, we need more of that. We need them to rise to the occasion. Another thing is that our 2026 midterms are coming up, and they are at risk. Trump has said out loud, why do we need midterms? Seems kind of stupid. We should just do away with them. Well, they'd like to. So here's what we got to do. Speaking of networks and planning, let's start with mail-in states. If you have a mail-in vote, do not drop your ballot in a drop box. We saw in 2020, I think, ballot boxes just being, set on fire and shit like that. Wouldn't be surprised if some of them blew up in this next election. Do not trust your ballot to the drop box. That being said, do not trust your ballot to the U.S. Postal Service either. That's the equivalent of dropping it into a black hole. There were a lot of shenanigans around the U.S. Postal Service in the 2020 election. I don't know if anybody remembers this. The mail got slowed. USPS drop boxes were removed all over, cities and stuff like that. It's not a pretty sight. So they're going to do whatever they can do. So what do you do instead? Okay, so every county has a clerk, an elections clerk. You need to take your ballots to that clerk in person. And not everyone can do that. So we need a network of good people who can faithfully deliver the ballots for other people. Now remember, bad people can get in on this too and say, oh yeah, I'll take your ballot. Wink, wink. So we have to make sure that this is a very trusted network, that we're actually going to take your ballots and not just disappear them, right? So don't trust just anybody. But yeah, we're going to need a network of good people to help out. And old people want to vote too. People in nursing homes, people who are disabled or housebound, they're not going to have these options, right? So we need some kind of outreach there. For in-person voting is a different kettle of fish. So what we're going to need to do is have our white people really buck up here, okay? They will position ICE agents at polls. I guarantee it. They're there to intimidate people of color who are citizens. Those are the people who can vote, into not voting. They're going to make voting as painful as possible. They're going to have fewer polling stations, longer lines. They'll probably forbid people from handing out food and water. They've done this before. Um, White people, bring your neighbors of color with you to the polls. Bear witness to any harassment or intimidation. Bring a flippin' cooler, some some folding chairs, whatever you got to do. Bring food and water, not just for you, but to share. Because you could be there for a long time with your friends, and you may have to endure a lot of shit. It will be a marathon, but it's important. Yeah, we're going to have to vote for the Democrats, and then we're going to have to fucking hold those people to account. Like, actually do something. So, please start planning now. It's really important. If we can get a blue majority in Congress, we have an opportunity, we have a chance, if they will act, to bring down this presidency and to actually put some oversight on this outlaw behavior that they're engaged in. And if we don't, we have a problem. But that's for another day. So listen, I don't want anybody to lose hope here. We have hope. I think we have hope here. There's a lot of good people in this country. We outnumber the assholes. Remember that. We absolutely outnumber the assholes. At most, there are 30% of them. At most. And some of the MAGA voters have regrets. Don't be a jerk. Welcome them home. You know, say, oh damn man, I hear you. I'm so glad that you understand. Welcome them home, okay? Because we need them. They will actually help us. What if the red states aren't as red as they used to be? You know, hang on to that thought. And help us get out the votes and stuff. All is not lost. There's always hope. As long as there are people prepared to do the right thing, there's always hope. So don't give up. Don't give up. I love each and every one of you. I believe in you. I believe in us. I believe in the spirit of America, whatever that is, you know, the good peace that we believe in, you know. And we can do this. So, until next time, hang in there, friends.